Morning.
It is.
Absolutely. They all are. I have 3 questions. The first is my skepticism of an entity, Abraham, and I'd like you to address that from wherever I am and speak to that. That's my question.
It is quite surprising to us that so many physical beings become so fully immersed in the physicality of their experience that they lose their conscious awareness of the connection that sustains them. In other words, you are like so many others, you are so focused in your time-space reality, and you have become so good at deciphering your reality by interpreting vibration through your physical senses. Sight is just a vibrational interpretation. Sound is just a vibrational interpretation. So you have all of this physical mechanism to interpret vibration, and you get so good at it that that reality becomes dominant, and in fact you sort of lose sight of your connection to source energy. So all Esther is doing here is demonstrating in this moment a fuller connection to who she really is than most people consciously do. She's not doing anything that any of you don't do. In other words, you hear on the television that with the tsunami that animals survived for the most part. There was some caged or trapped that did not, but those that were free to follow their own inspiration received guidance and moved themselves into the place that they wanted to be. And humans have trained that out of themselves, and that is what that skepticism is. It is the conscious training out of my awareness who I really am. Now, another thing that we really want to say to you is that often you are connected to that broader stream. In other words, there is no one in this room, almost no one that you will ever meet, that is not a large part of their life experience allowing a rather full part of who they are to flow through. In the beginning, as we began talking through Esther, and to Jerry, and then to a few others, and then to more others, we began talking to them about the physical you and the non-physical you. And in some ways, we sort of split them into 2 pieces, not wanting to, but we were so aware that most were so unaware of the inner being part of them that we got pretty heavy on that emphasis, because we want you to begin to recall who you really are. Of course, when you die, you will leave behind all doubt and fear and worry, and you will reemerge into that full awareness of who you really are. We just like it when you are able to adjust your vibration to allow it here. So Jerry perhaps has the best vantage point of all, because he lived with Esther before Abraham. He lived with Esther during the Abraham unfolding. Even today, he knows the difference between Esther and Abraham. And so he has no struggle with understanding that Abraham is a broader consciousness than Esther on a day-to-day basis ordinarily allows. One morning, not so long ago, Esther woke up and said, "Abraham, it feels so good when you flow through me. How would you like to just come in permanently? How'd you like to just walk in my body?" And we say, we always, always do. In other words, we are never not offering ourselves to you. But Esther, in this example that you are witnessing here, has managed a vibrational alignment with that which is the vibration of Abraham, which allows a fuller interpretation of our broader, more expanded knowledge. She literally has access to infinite intelligence. And to the degree that she can allow it, she can express that. And to the degree that you can ask it, it comes forth. There is nothing that Abraham is or is wanting you to know that we can or desire to assert to you. We only offer that which you are asking for, because this is a universe based upon attraction. And so as you are asking for something and we have the ability to assist, we offer it. But we notice that as we vibrate here in this place of pure positive energy, now think about this emotional scale that we've talked about. So here's Abraham vibrationally in this place of pure positive energy. And when Esther and Jerry met Abraham, Esther's vibration was somewhere between frustration and joy most of the time. In other words, she rarely dipped into anything lower than that. She was living happily ever after and knew it and felt grateful for her life experience. So it was not a big jump for Esther through meditation to allow her vibrational connection to that which is us, you see. Sometimes someone will come to a teacher, even to the teacher that we call you, and they may be in a state of great frustration or great despair. Their life isn't working and they want your help. Maybe they're sick in some strong way. And as your vibration is here in this place of believing or knowing, and their vibration is here in this place of fear, they cannot hear what you have to say, because vibrationally, even though you're saying it, they can't hear it. And so all Esther did through a process of meditation for a period of about 9 months, it didn't actually take that long for her to quiet her mind and allow her vibration to raise. But during meditation, that does happen. When you quiet your mind, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, you stop any resistance. And when you stop resistance, your vibration raises. Just like when you let go of the cork, it bobs back to the surface. Because the natural state of being is one of pure positive energy. So, as Esther meditated and allowed her vibration to raise, she was in the vibrational vicinity then of receiving the radio signals that we were offering. And she is able at that unconscious level to interpret those signals into the physical word equivalent. Now, we know that someone could have a grandmother who just taught appreciation, who never heard the word law of attraction, who never heard the name Abraham, who never met Jerry and Esther or anyone like them. And they could live as profound and meaningful a life experience as someone who came to every Abraham gathering that ever happened and learned everything about law of attraction and applied it deliberately. Because you don't have to understand or embrace what Abraham is in order to line up with who you really are. And we really are not caring at all whether you acknowledge Abraham or Esther as what they profess to be. But it is our desire that somehow, some way, you find some way, and there are a lot of them. There are people in churches all over the world who have desire to be worthy and desire to do good works, who believe in the structure of the church in which they are a part and therefore are in alignment. There are no wrong paths. There are many, many right paths, you see. Skepticism doesn't serve you because it is saying, here is something that someone wants me to believe that I don't want to believe, and it's contradictory in nature. So we would far rather that someone who felt skeptical of something would move on to something that they don't feel skeptical of just so that they could line up their energy rather than convince someone against their will. There are no only right truths here. You see, this is not the only.
I got that too. The question maybe morphs into how is it precisely that I can connect more fully with the infinite intelligence the way you are?
Well, you've done most of it by saying you want to. And the rest of it you do by acknowledging that you have the ability to do it. And that really, frankly, is the best thing that Esther offers for you. If she can do it, you can too. In other words, she is not different from you. What made Jerry and Esther easy to come to this and comfortable within it is that Jerry had passionate desire to understand. Esther was not questioning anything. In other words, Esther was not ravenous in her wanting to know what makes the universe work or where she came from. She was just living happily ever after. Jerry wanted to know. So Jerry was really beating the drum of step one. He wanted to know. Esther, from the day she met Jerry, saw herself as his facilitator. She was his secretary. She did his bidding. In other words, whatever he needed, she found a way to make it happen. Even in their married life, she carried a notebook around, and if he thought of something he would like to have done, she would write it down and do her very best to make it happen. Esther is a facilitator, you see. And so in the Abraham vernacular, what we would say is that Jerry wanted to know, and Esther was in the vibrational place that she allowed it to flow through, you see. So anyone who's wanting to receive has to do both of those parts. You have to have clear intent about what you're wanting, and you have to be in a vibrational place to allow it. So what we really want you to know is that if you ask, it is always given every single time, no exception. And your real work is just to find ways to put yourself into the receiving mode. And the better you feel, the more in the receiving mode you are. And the universe will give you endless evidence and examples as you start making deliberate statements of your intent, and then you work to feel as good as you can on those subjects as much as you can. You'll start seeing as soon as today evidence that the universe has heard you and is answering you in a way that you will know. In other words, quite often something will happen and Esther will just smile because she knows it is Source giving her the answer in the way that she wants to hear it, that validates her awareness that she asked and received. Constant confirmation of your connection. Good time for a segment of refreshment. Yeah.
Thank you.
There are contradictions within you, and so your work is to line up with who you are, which means make a decision and then line up with the decision. Don't oppose your own decision. We were visiting with someone not too long ago who was in the process of making a decision about hiring someone. And they were sort of not certain if it was a good idea. And as they talked to us about it, we gave them all of the reasons that it was a good idea. And as they listened to the reasons that we offered about why it was a good idea, these people came into vibrational alignment with themselves. And then we said the most important thing to them relative to the process. Now, don't go back and revisit this subject. Don't open it for discussion again. Don't go back and second guess yourself and say, did I make the right decision? Stay in alignment with your decision. Continue to beat the drum of why this is a good decision. Do you know you could buy that house or that house? You could marry that person or that person. You could live on that coast or that coast. You could live in that country or that country. And it wouldn't make any difference at all in terms of your joy or your well-being. But if you live there and say, maybe I should live there, you've got split energy going on. If you're going to live there, decide that you're going to live there and make the best of living there. Don't torture yourself by saying, I shouldn't have done it. Buyer's remorse is about making a decision because everything was lined up and making the decision and then second guessing yourself and splitting your energy. And then when you live out the repercussions of your split energy, then you conclude, see, I made the wrong decision. And we want you to understand you did not make the wrong decision. You just screwed it up after you made the decision. You made the decision and then you unmade the decision and then you made the decision and then you unmade the decision and you caused vibrational chaos in your vibrational field and then you set up all sorts of walls of resistance so that the well-being that would have come to you if you had stayed in vibrational alignment with your decision can't come to you because you are vibrationally not allowing it. So, does that mean that there are no absolute rights and wrongs in this universe? It means that anything that is an absolute right, you can feel in your emotion. And anything that is really contrary to who you are as God force or source energy, you can feel it in your energy. In other words, if you look at someone and you say, I hate your guts, you certainly have the right to say that, and your opinion certainly is valid. But when you focus that kind of criticism towards someone that, from a non-physical, God-force standpoint, you love, you contradict your energy. So there are plenty of things that you are justified in saying, doing, or feeling that don't line up with who you really are. So if you want to return to the well-being that you were born with, to the source energy that is really who you are, then just follow Joseph Campbell's advice and make a decision that you will follow your bliss. And then embark upon the process that Abraham is encouraging, where from your depression you follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of anger as your goal. And then you continue to follow your bliss from your state of anger, but you use your temporary goal of frustration. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of overwhelmment. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of looking for belief. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of trying to find that place of appreciation. And what we notice is that almost all of you, once you make it all the way to frustration, can get about anywhere on the emotional scale you decide to go within an hour or two. But sometimes it takes a few days to get there, depending upon how long you've been beating the drum of depression.